Hey, yo, Ran, turn that up.
What's up, real world? It's your girl Dayla, one of your favorite underground hosts to your favorite underground podcast. Gotta have that podcast. Check me out. So, I literally, no matter how many times I do this, no matter how many times I record or anything, or prepare, practice, try to write it out, all of that, I always say check it. Like, I know y'all probably like, where'd that come from? Because I literally just said it, and it's not something I mean to say. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna try a tagline and say that. Like, that's literally just what comes out. That's okay. I'm sorry, that was random. But back to it. So we're back with another episode, right? So excuse my voice. The allergy season it's a lot going on. The pollen is really doing. I don't know if it's supposed to, if it just do. I don't know, but it's doing what it do. You dig? It's getting to me. I got a little tea right here. So you might see me, sip on that. And I got some water. Cause I'm not gonna not do it because of this. I know I sound, stuffy and all of that. But I just gotta do it, gotta keep going. Cause I can't let that stop me. But okay, again, back into it. Zuzu. So today's episode is the importance of imagination, or like the importance of having an imagination, right? Because throughout growing up period, I can remember being in my living room, going into this imaginary world that was built out of my mind only, right? Excuse me. Out of my mind only, and having a ball. Like, I'm not the most normal person, especially child at the time. So I remember literally because I didn't get grounded. Either you got beat, you know what I mean? You got a good talking to where it hurts worse than a whooping, worse than the, you know what I mean? Or, you feel me, that was about it. Yeah, so I remember telling someone I would hang out with outside that I was grounded for 2 months. I watched a lot of movies, watched a lot of television. I love TV, love movies. So I remember telling her that, and it was a lie. Because I had not been outside for 2 months, literally. If I wasn't at church, at my grandma's house, I would literally be in the house in my imaginary world all day. My mom, she's in the back, or she's at church, at work, something, and I'm in the crib all all day, and literally just doing everything under the sun. I'm playing basketball. I'm being a cop. I'm running from the cops. Don't judge me. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not that at all. Being entertainment at a teens club, because I always love that type of atmosphere where it's a teens lounge. We kind of need more of those. Not kind of, we do. We need more of those, and like recreation centers where kids actually go and play basketball, and maybe they'll have a football field or something like that outside. That's what I grew up on. So I remember Winston had a teen club. The Cafe, I believe it was called. I never got to go. I never went. But I knew I had cousins that did and stuff like that. And it just always seemed fun to me. So in my head, I'm imagining that. And we're playing all the favorite songs that's on the radio. Well, all my favorite songs, of course, that's on the radio. And I'm singing them and being the artist and all of this stuff that I would do. And throughout time, I stopped doing it less. Well, of course, you grow up, so you don't do that. Like that. But I was still participating a bit in going into an imaginary world when I come home. Even in older age, And it was like, you're getting too old for this. Like, you don't need to be coming home and, putting on your favorite song, your favorite whatever, playing it and dancing to it and singing it like you're performing for somebody. Like, you might be getting a little too old for that, because again, by that time I'm in adolescence for sure, and those years you're trying not to be a child. You think you want to be an adult. Me, I did. It's not that I wanted to be an adult. It was just the freedom of an adult, I think, for me. Like, not that I was constrained. It wasn't like I had a chain on me or anything, but it was still I'm not, this is not where I'm going to be for a long time. Like, I'm going to have a time away from here, if that makes sense. But yeah. So anyway, once I got to, like I said, I'm like, you getting a little too old to be, going into your imaginary world like that. Going from that to not doing it at all, then to just really, really feeling a growing pain, as my mom would call it. Really feeling that I am not a child anymore. I'm going through to where I know I can tell I'm not a child anymore. These are not the same days. Things of that sort, missing those days, and just different stuff happening. And me, at that time, I'm also going through depression. So, and learning what it is. Knowing a bit of what it is, but, going into a journey where I'm like, I want to get back to where I was then, because by this point now, I'm not dancing at all. In front of actual people, nothing. I'm not dancing, me usually, and now you play, especially Chris Brown song, it's like I don't know, it's just something. You play it, and I'm moving some way, shape, or form, whether I'm going all out, whether I lose myself, forget I'm in front of you, because that can happen. I've done it with friends, and like, they know me, so they go with it, or whatever, but I can do that. It was to a point where you could put that on, and I'm not reacting at all. All right, so I'm like, I'm tired of doing that. I always feel like, I want to cry, or I am crying, trying to figure out why I'm crying, all of this. So I really started going after my relationship with God, because it was like, I know you're the only one that can help me in this, right? So then, once I got there, that journey of getting back, it was a journey. I was going back to, I'm coming out of this shell. I'm not about to shut myself down, because nobody's shutting me down at this point. You're old enough to where they can't shut you up. It's only what you allow yourself to do. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. So when I stopped doing that to myself, when I stopped being my own holdback in that sense, I started dancing more. I remember one day dancing at my college at Lewisburg. It was like it was our last semester of being there, and it was like a big outside party thing they threw, some like festival kind of thing, and I went with two of my friends, and they was playing songs, and I remember I was actually dancing, and I'm doing, just even if it's a little something, not, I'm not out there going hitting a routine on them, but I was hitting a little something, and I knew I could tell certain people, or some people were shocked, people that I've been hanging out with, people that they have known me since the freshman year, and this is our second year there. So, and they're like, what, Dayla dance? Like, yeah, I'm not who y'all met. I was not Dayla, right? And I still wasn't fully myself, but I was getting back to myself, right? So, past that, actually come back to it. Past that, and then come back to get to the point of, all right, I'm now fighting for myself. I believe I was now, by this point, I'm fighting for myself. I've told this story before of talking to myself in the mirror after, in my opinion, I had an emotional or a mental breakdown. It was because I just kept crying. I couldn't explain why I was crying. I was just crying. It was just so much that I kept to the back, or I kept on my shoulders. And it was just like that day, everything just came down at the same time. So you asked me what's wrong. I'm just looking through different things that I could pull and grab. But I'm trying to find the thing that triggered it. And it's like, it wasn't much to do to trigger it. Either way, it would have happened. Either way, that could have happened. So I had to get, talking with myself. Hey, Dayla, look, man, we're going to have to do better, right? And with that talk came the doing. Went to therapy, things of that sort. So now I'm starting to talk again, I'm actually trying to talk to people, like I said, I went to therapy. Shout out to Central, because they had it's combined into your tuition, or at least when I was there. Hopefully they're still doing that. So you didn't have to like pay out of pocket. You could just go sign up and you're good, right? So did that, and it gave me a good feeling, because I was getting things out and I was being able to look at things different. And some advice hurt, and some advice was like, no, that's not what's going to happen. This is actually what's going to happen. And then it eventually happened. But it's just like, that's how that was. Like, I mean, I know you know what you're talking about. I know you're a professional and all, but you don't know about that part, dude. No, thank you, though. Excuse me. So, again, I'm starting to write again and stuff like that. So I remember one day I'm in my apartment. This is years past. I'm in my apartment and I'm like, I'm actually, and I'm not going to say I realized it on my own. I'm very sure that God gave me this. I'm actually I have finally made it back to going into the imaginary world. But I'm doing it in an adult, as well as, I don't want to say creative. Yes, creative, but it's in a manifestation way, right? So I don't, those long tables that you'll sit at, at a cookout or some type of party where you bring the long tables where everybody can sit at, or you sit the food out on. And this one folds in and out. So I'm sitting, well, that wasn't really important, but I'm sitting at the edge of it. I had it it was like a little office space, that the apartment had. And I'm sitting over there, and I'm sitting at the edge of the table, and there's nobody in the house but me. I was going to say, of course, but there's nobody in the house but me, sitting at the edge. And by this point, I am into the conversation of what's happening after graduation. Okay, that's what you've given me. If you haven't seen the first episode, you can go back and see the first episode, but I talked about that whole process, right? So these are the months. This is happening in those months. And in those times, I was writing the most. I was writing, I'm not going to say nonstop, but kind of nonstop. Like something was always dropping in my spirit, because I was also posting them up. And I remember thinking, like, when he brought that to me, I'm like, yeah, because right now I'm moving as if I have a whole team. I'm moving as if people are sitting at this table with me and we're having a meeting. Although I'm not talking, to them, but that's how I'm moving. That's because I'm making my plans there. Well, not my plans, but I'm drawing out the plans that's being dropped to me. I'm drawing out I'm writing down the ideas that's being given to me. And it's like, I'm moving as a team. And I know it was only me and God sitting at that table, but it was as if it was 5 others, 10 others, however many. And I remember just saying, like, wow, because I wanted to get back to that place, because I did have fun there. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to have some type of imagination to even be able to manifest, because you have to manifest something that you believe in. You don't see it physically. Sometimes you might not even be able to imagine it. That's for God to give to you. That's not for you to imagine. But the things you can imagine, the things that you want to do. You know what I mean? When you're practicing, you want to make the team, you practice like you're already on the team. You know what I mean? You can learn certain plays, or you can just do certain drills that's going to help you on the play. You got to be able to catch, so when that player actually passes it to you, you're not missing the ball. You have to learn how to pass so you can actually get the ball to the goal. Get the ball to your teammate and they can get it to the goal. You know what I mean? So it takes a bit of an imagination to even have to have royal vision. Because we say here, you have to envision it in order to be it. You have to see it first. You have to imagine it first, right? So I wanted to, that's why this episode, I was like, I have to talk about the importance. I wrote a poem on it, but I'm like, I got to talk about the importance of an imagination, because we may not look at it that way. We may look at it as just something that you did as a child, something you that you participated in as a child, and it's like, but you can still do as an adult. It just looks different. But when you do it, even with the podcast, I bought these mics years ago. And after, when I first got them, I was excited. So I would talk on it like I'm talking on this, like I'm talking to someone, like I'm in an interview, or I'm giving an interview, or, well, I don't even like to say interview, but, in conversation or an interview for real. And I do understand that there's a thin line between being in an imaginary world in a positive, healthy way and being in it in a negative, toxic way. Because in the toxic way, you are looking at not even coming to terms with reality, not even wanting to acknowledge reality. The fact that I don't have a job, the fact that I have a child and just responsibilities, period. I'm trying to drive the best car because in my imaginary world, I'm rich. In my imaginary world, in my manifestation world, I'm big baller. Shot caught, talk to me, you did. But in the reality world, I'm really just on the couch for real. And I'm really doing what I can when I have the means to do what I can. But it takes so much for me to get the means because I don't have a job. I'm lazy. I really don't feel like doing nothing, but that's what I'm trying to make it to. And it's like, no, it has to match up somehow. I'm working hard. I'm grinding. I'm hustling. I'm doing whatever I got to do to get to the next step, so the next step can go to the next one, and the next one can lead me, so forth and so forth. In my imaginary world, in the manifestation world, in the world where I see a future me, I don't know when it is, how I get there. Well, I get there because I'm doing this. I'm starting here. But I don't know the exact road there. But I know I see it. Because, and let's be honest, just like we know that God gives us ideas, he gives us visions in those imaginary worlds. He gives us the mind to create what you create in the imaginary world. And as a child in the imaginary world, what are you imagining? The thing you want to be most. The thing you admire. Don't be scared of it. Don't be so, I don't want to say serious, because you have to be serious. Because people, soon as you play, people think that's all you do. And so then they try to play you. And then you have to, tune in and then they be like, oh my gosh. Why she do that? Why you do that? Anyway. So I'm not going to say be too serious. But you don't have to be so uptight. You don't have to be so stiff with it. Make it your own. Make it you. So you can relate. I was talking about doing the podcast, and I brought it up before. this is something that I have to get comfortable with more and more every day, whether it's writing for it, getting it together, setting it up, being on here, recording, actually hitting the record button, actually getting the energy to get up here and sit down and talk, actually being able to do it. Positive side is positive side is, again, having that balance between the two. I can see how you could get there, even if I don't see you there yet. I at least you see you doing the work. I at least see that you're doing the work. And then sometimes the one on the couch that's not doing much is the laziness. If you're not lazy mentally, I'm talking mentality, because your mentality is what helps you in a lot of it. If your mentality is down, it takes a miracle worker for sure to really get you up and at him. And then even in that, he still has to get your mind ready. You know what I mean? And make sure your heart is in it. But having that healthy boundary on that, I know I have to work at it in some way, shape or form. I don't know why I can't talk today, for real. So look, we're at the end of the video. It's not a long video today, so you already know I got the segment of this, the segment that we've created is gems. So if I was to leave you with any gem, a gem that I want you to remember, like take out of anything else I have said, it would be don't forget what helped you. Don't forget some of your particles that's within your DNA. Don't forget the things that were involved in your creation. Boom. Don't forget the things that were involved in your creation. Because God did his 1-2 with just creating you in his image. And then he placed you somewhere that he knew was going to help you become the image. You know what I mean? He gave the atmosphere the figure. He gave the physical thing. He got your mommy and your daddy together, and you feel me, woo woo woo. And then here you are. But he also, and I've thought about this, and it touched me in a different way, because just knowing that he thought about my life and said, this is why I'm creating her. This is why. The why it is being fulfilled later on in years. But to help her get there, or even want to go that way, or even have not because it don't matter about my understanding, but to even be able to say yes to me because things are making sense. I know how I created her, so I know how she's going to think about it. But for her to think about it that way, I have to put her in a predicament. I have to put her in this storyline that makes it make sense of why she says yes. What makes it make sense of how she even got into that side of the road, because there was other roads I could have went down if the environment was different, if the coming up was different. So don't forget what was a part of your creation. That's coming from God. That's coming from the environment you was in. That's coming from, and I say that because with your imagination, that's a part of your creation. Because in your imagination, you're creating this that you see, but you see it because God already gave it to you, or God created that person for you to see. You get me? All right, because that was kind of tough. That was kind of deep. So I'm going to leave it there. You know what I mean? So I had a wonderful episode. A wonderful day with you all. Wonderful time. So like, comment, subscribe, all of that great stuff. I try to say as much as I remember. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you think about the episode today, past episodes before, what you would like to see in the future, and all of that great stuff. And then let me know, you feel me? You ain't gotta, you feel me, be too sentimental, because I know, gangsters don't cry all the time. They do shed tears though, but they don't cry all the time. You did. But nah, but yeah, definitely share some love in your own way, whether it's a like, it's a comment, or if if it's just a subscribe, or if it's just that you watched it a little bit, or you watched the whole thing, whatever it is, I appreciate all of it. I definitely appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I want y'all to do what? Stay up, stay positive, stay loving, stay yourself, stay imaginative. Is that a word? We're gonna go with it for sure. And most of all, you know it. I love it. Stay royal. See ya.